I've been in the danger zone.
Hello, you beautiful bastards, and welcome to the 6th ever Danger Zone podcast. I am still your host, Daniel Kelly, but I'm not alone. The minions are right behind me, Mr. Ryan Palmer.
Hello.
And this week, we're joined by the leader of Team Himpy himself, Himpy.
Hello.
Right, we're going to discuss this week's WWE happenings, beginning with Sunday's Elimination Chamber. And we'll begin by talking about the main event, which was the Rock CM Punk rematch for the WWE title.
Yep, and Rock successfully defended against Punk, and the finish came with a couple of ref bumps. Heyman holding Rock up so that Punk could hit him with the title, only for Rock to move, so Heyman got clocked with the title, and then Rock gave Punk a rock bottom for the win. Punk did kick out previously of a rock bottom and a people's elbow, and interestingly, did have the match won after The Rock accidentally collided with the ref, leading to Punk giving him a GTS for about a 10 count or something. So the match was about 21 minutes long, and although I thought it was better than the Rumble match, it was still overbooked, which really hurt the momentum of the match, I thought.
No, I didn't think it was as good as the Rumble.
No?
If I'm being honest. I thought the Rumble was better. It wasn't fantastic, the Rumble, but I think it was a basic wrestling match, and this one was a little bit Nitro 2000 style for me.
Yeah. I think I liked it a little bit more because it seemed a little more even, like between Rock and Punk.
That's a good point. That is the one positive for it, I suppose, on my...
And it did, just before the bumps, it did get quite exciting. And then it kind of, ref bumps happened, and then, it's just like, oh, well, it killed it a bit for me. So, yeah, it was okay. I didn't like it that much. Again, I thought, there was no reason for all these, interference and stuff like that. I mean, it didn't serve any purpose for, Punk to, Punk didn't win, so there was no need to keep The Rock looking strong or anything. So, I mean, it seemed pointless. It seemed like interference and ref bumps for the sake of it.
I think obviously the ref bumps were to allow Punk to beat him twice.
They only needed one ref bump for that, though. I mean, you could...
Oh, yeah, very true.
But yeah, there we go. And they obviously had another nightmare with the announce table. This time it didn't break. Which, probably looked more painful, to be honest. But, and Punk... I noticed Punk was loving the chin locks in this match. He tried to use a cravat at one point, but couldn't get his arms around Rock's fat, roidy head, so just went back to a chin lock. So yeah,
I think the highlight of the match for me was Paul Heyman at ringside. You've had a 1.5, a 2.
Oh yes.
The next one. He's brilliant, Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
And Punk spitting in Rock's face was pretty special.
Yeah, that was probably the most disgusting spit shot since SummerSlam '97 with Brett and Shawn.
That's Survivor Series, mate, but never mind.
Was it? No, it was SummerSlam.
That wasn't.
Oh, Brett and Taker, sorry. With Shawn as Brett spat on Shawn when he was the ref in SummerSlam against Taker.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, this one with The Rock, it just sat there on his head. For
certainly a good old...
off either, did he?
No.
certainly a good old gobful there.
Yeah. But, yeah. So I mean, not high praise from us for this match, but
I don't think they clicked, these two together at all in either match. To be honest, Punk did all right with what he had, but I don't know if Rock's going to really click with anyone. To be honest,
I think the biggest problem with Rock is just he is so muscly now. It's just, it seems to really impede him. I mean, because he had really good matches before he left. I mean, but it just, and I think he having so much muscle mass just has ruined his cardio.
If you look back, he's very lean compared to what he is today.
Yeah, I think he's gone too over the top with it, but yeah, well, we'll see.
That's Hollywood for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's because of the break-in matches. That he's not having great matches here, but Sutton's not right, and I suppose it's probably his bulkiness would be my opinion on it. But yeah, who knows? We'll see.
There we have it. Thumbs down then from us.
Yeah.
Right, onto the Shield versus Cena, Sheamus and Ryback, a.k.a. the Big Bunch of Bastards, and a.k.a. Team Cell No.
Yes. So yeah, the Shield managed to overcome those Big Bunch of Bastards in surprising fashion. Yeah, this was around a 15-minute match, but seemed much longer, but not in a bad way. I was surprised to see when I clocked the time.
Was it really 15 minutes?
Yeah, I think so. Unless I've messed this up, then I
I'd have said
apologise.
at least 25.
Yeah, it seemed longer, but my watch I had 15.
It was 15 minutes and 15 seconds.
There we go.
There you go. Himpy, the timekeeper.
Yeah.
I think what made it seem a little bit longer was when Cena, in the middle of the match, he had his big sort of comeback spot where he was getting battered and he kept getting put in rest holds, didn't he? So
Yeah.
dragged things on a little bit. That was the only criticism for me of the match. There was a little lull in the middle when Cena was getting worked over.
Yeah, I suppose that's the point, though. I mean, that's the middle of the match is going to be like that, I guess. So, yeah, Rollins got the pin on Ryback after Reigns speared the shit out of him. Speared out the shit out of Ryback when Rollins was on his shoulders. So, yeah, very, very excellent there. I thought it was an excellent match. Yeah, easily match of the night. And one thing I cannot remember seeing heat like that for a tag match in recent times.
Well, that was the only thing that the crowd were up for.
Exactly, it was like we were in the 80s or something.
I think the main event was shocking crowd-wise. I think didn't JBL or Cole comment that the crowd couldn't get into the match or something?
Really?
And that's if I remember rightly. And it was just it's a main event between the biggest star in the business.
Yeah.
And the WWE champion who's had the title for a year. But anyway,
yeah, the factor with that might have been just they didn't believe that Punk was going to win.
Yeah,
which is fair enough.
Yeah, it is fair enough.
So yeah,
absolutely. But I was very surprised that the Shield got the win. As if you listened last week, you heard us sort of discuss what we thought would happen, and none of us really gave the Shield a chance.
Yeah.
But I watched it the night after. I watched it Monday night, and I literally jumped out of my chair.
Yeah.
And marked out like a little bitch.
It was brilliant. I mean, I want to talk about the booking for a minute. I'm not going to say well done for WWE for having the Shield go over, because I think it would make me seem like a beaten housewife or something. I mean, WWE had to give them the win. The Shield losing would have killed them and done nothing for the bastards. So, logically, that's what they had to do. But I know WWE can't be like that. But I'm not going to say, like, well done, because, I mean, they had to do that.
It's literally like the first time in recent memory, though, that with a stable or a group, they have done the right thing. So,
yeah,
yes,
I can see why we're all very sort of grateful for him for doing that. I am, anyway.
Yeah.
Quick word on Ryback. He's now lost. He's on a losing streak on pay-per-view, and Brooklyn Brawler has won more pay-per-view matches in the last 6 months than Ryback.
Yeah. I suppose it doesn't matter too much just because he is the most unstoppable man in the company on TV. So, I think it's just circumstance, isn't it? I mean, I expect him to win at Mania, whoever he's got. Unless maybe he's against the Shield, we'll see. But even against the Shield, he probably will. But I mean, it's just circumstance. Like, he's been in WWE title matches, he's not going to win them. He won't going to win them because Punk was going to obviously lose it to Rock, and then he's been against the Shield since then. And they don't want to, they rightly so, don't want to let Shield lose. So
I don't think you can look too much into that statistic, can you, really?
No, I don't think so.
I think he's losing every big match, though, isn't he? Just, and the crowd has the reaction has completely waned for him.
Yeah.
He came out at Chamber, and there was absolutely nothing for him. It was dead silent, apart from a couple of silly little screams as soon as the music hit. But the same on Raw the next night. It was silent again for him.
Yeah.
He's lost all momentum for me.
He's lucky that he got a lot of feed me more chance during the match, though, because I think there would have been some.
That's a catchphrase, though.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think if that's like Kofi Kingston with his booms. That everyone does that.
I'd say it's more like like Brian and the Yessen and Noan. It's more like that, I think.
Yeah, but my point is that if you give anyone a decent catchphrase, the crowd are going to chant it along with them. Zack Ryder, woo woo woo. Do you know what I mean? Ryder's nobody, and and everyone in the building virtually still shouts woo 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 with him. Yeah. So
I'm hoping, people are starting to sour on him just because he doesn't have that much to offer, and he's ridiculous in speaking roles, and I don't know, just his facials. It's just he's like constantly sniffing and looks like he's snorting, and I don't know, it's just disgusting. I can't stand looking at him.
A little bit like Goldberg, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, Goldberg, it wasn't as bad as that.
Sorry.
We'll see.
Right, that's about it for the Ryback bashing for now. Until later on. Let's have a little talk about the Elimination Chamber match.
Can I just go back to the...
No, you can't. Go on.
Okay. Well,
Go on.
Yeah, something that annoyed me after the match was Cole stressing how the Shield won because of their teamwork. I mean, they were going on about so much, he might as well have said none of them are a match for any of the bastards one-on-one. And it was kind of like covering their tracks even. But yeah, that kind of annoyed me.
JBL said that they were the most impressive stable that he'd seen ever.
Yeah, but you just know Vince was in his ear saying, say it was teamwork, say it was because of teamwork, just to try and protect them. Something like that. That's hard in my mind. And yeah, speaking of the commentators, elsewhere on the show, there was this funny bit when they would start taking the piss out of Cole for having a picture of himself and King on his phone background. And that was good. And then King shows himself and his granddaughter on his phone background. Oh, sorry, that was his girlfriend, wasn't it? Oh, dear. What a funny little statutory rapist he is.
Oh, dear. That is the opinion of Ryan Palmer, not employees of the Danger Zone podcast.
I'm just saying what we're all thinking.
Anyway, moving on. The Elimination Chamber. We had Chris Jericho versus Randy Orton versus Jack Swagger versus Daniel Bryan versus Kane versus Mark Henry.
Yep, and so Jack Swagger won here, which surprised me, but not Himpy, because he knows. He knew.
I called the feud, but I didn't think it would be this soon, so
yeah,
I can't take any credit for that one, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
I'd had Swagger. He'd have been my third favourite behind... I had Henry. I picked Henry last week on the show, and I did have money on Henry with Paddy Power, and that came back to bite me. But I'd have had Henry, then Jericho, and then I'd have had Swagger. I'd have had him ahead of Orton.
Yeah. I really thought it was going to be Orton. I mean, now, when Swagger won, I could kind of see the logic behind it a bit, I guess. I was certainly a bit worried when he came out with Zeb at the start for the promo. I was like, oh God. So, because I did have money on Orton. But there we go. My second loss.
I thought it was a good match. It wasn't as great as Chambers can be, but I think it was the second best match on the card for me. It was gripping in places, and in my opinion, it sagged in other places. But overall, I would give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. I mean, not one of the better Chamber matches, like you said, but I thought the last few minutes were thrilling. I thought Orton did particularly well in this match. I thought he really got the crowd into it, and I thought he was the man of the match for me.
Man of the match. An honourable mention for me for Mark Henry. I just think he's an absolute beast, and he's entertaining me at the minute. I think when he came in and he ran through everyone with a stronger slam, I think, and just standing in the chamber, everyone floored, and he's screaming, "That's what I do!" I think, he's an absolute badass at the minute. He's entertaining me.
Completely disagree. I thought Henry killed the momentum of the match with his fat, hokey shit. And he was featured the most prominently in the whole match, even though, number one, he is awful, and two, there is no future in him. I mean, if in 6 months' time he is not injured again, I'll be shocked.
I think he'll be retired in 6 months' time.
Yeah, I was going to say, if he's still going in 6 months' time, I'll be shocked,
Yeah, but I mean, so I mean, what's the point? It's
just giving him one last run, isn't they? I mean, his only real run so far in his career came in 2011, and he's been in the business for 20 years nearly now.
Yeah, but deserved.
And he's done nothing until the last sort of 2 or 3 years of his career. They've got to try and use the most out of him while they can still do it.
He don't deserve it though. I mean, look, how many years? 14 or whatever he's been there. He's been terrible, and he's had all the pushes in the world, and only once in God knows 10 pushes has he done moderately okay in it. I mean, yeah, his first title run, whatever you want to call it, he did do well, but I mean,
he got massive numbers for SmackDown, highest ratings for SmackDown. I think ratings haven't topped that since. So
really,
he's a ratings draw. So he's a proven ratings draw, Mark Henry.
I don't know, but yeah. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of the finish of this, which was, what happened?
Orton RKO Jericho, and then he got rolled up.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like the best way to end a chamber match when it's supposed to be one of the most grueling matches in the company, and it just finishes with a roll up like that. It kind of defeats the point.
I don't think it'd have done Orton any harm if Swagger was to beat him more definitively. I think because Orton's been losing cleanly to heels for mid-card heels for a little while now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
it would have done Swagger a lot more good than a cheap roll-up from behind.
Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me.
I can't see how they're going to present Swagger as. I know they're going to present him as a top guy, but I can't see how, in my mind, that he could be a top guy because he's been an absolute jobber for 2 years now, and they're building him back up. Yeah, but they've not built him enough yet, and I don't think between now and WrestleMania, 7 weeks or 6 weeks by the time he'll be on television again, I think it's not enough time to get him as a credible main eventer for me, unless Seb can weave his racist magic.
Yeah, it does seem very silly. I mean, yeah, we'll talk about this a little bit more after we talk about the next match, which I suppose is a good segue into it.
Yeah, look at that. We're getting professional on the Danger Zone.
Yeah, so we had...
next match was the World Heavyweight Championship match.
Yep.
Between... Well, it wasn't the next match, but it's the next match we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It was between Del Rio and The Big Show. And in my opinion, it was the weakest of the series of matches between the two. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. I thought it was not just that, but a poor match. I thought didn't like it at all.
I wouldn't say it was poor. It entertained me, but I think with the standards of the other two, because they were both really good matches, I don't think this one was ever really going to top it because the other two had stipulations behind them.
Yeah, I think the stipulations just helped them elevate the match, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this one I thought was just slow and unexciting, and going about 14 minutes was just too long.
I agree.
I thought it also lacked any believable near falls or anything. Just wasn't anything like that.
I think it's about time. Sorry, Himpy, go on.
That's right. I was just going to say, I think this match will always be tainted by that epic bucket botch.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. Absolutely missed it.
I think it was brilliant that Big Show had to pretend he didn't feel anything behind him.
Yeah, he just had to stand there and hold the bucket. It's ridiculous.
It was one of the most suspension of disbelief killer moments of a long time.
Yeah, I think you spotted something, Ryan, didn't you, about the botch, which was rather funny.
Oh yeah, when Del Rio stepped on the top, the second rope to then deliver the Inseguri to the Mexi bucket. I don't know what exactly happened, but did he slip off it? He never even tried to kick it, I don't think. But as he was kind of falling off because he slipped off the rope, he still slapped his thigh as he was doing it, and you hear the sound of him just going and falling over without actually kicking anyone, which was just brilliant.
I'm glad that we finally got to see the contents of the bucket, to be honest. I've been mentioning that for a little while now. We now know that it was a bottle of water.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I thought as Del Rio was leaving, I was half expecting Dolph to come out or attack him from behind somehow, because as he was leaving up the ramp, the camera stayed on him for about a minute or two when he was not really doing anything. He was just leaving up the ramp, and by then you'll find that the camera is normally cut away, and I was expecting maybe Dolph to, or as he poses at the top of the ramp, Dolph to come out and twat him with a briefcase or something.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to be.
Yeah. I think tonight, or that night, just reinforces how the World Heavyweight Championship just seems like a mid-card title now. Never has there been a least anticipated world title Mania match in history. I mean, Del Ria's popularity seems to have already peaked, and Swagger isn't really over.
I
think he'll do well, possibly.
I think it'll be a good match.
Yeah,
I think if they put it on first, it's definitely going to go on first, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think it'll be one of the better Mania openers in recent years since we stopped having Money in the Bank.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
so give it maybe 10 minutes.
It might not go on last because they usually want something pretty exciting to start off with, and the fact that there probably won't be that much interest in it, they might not put it first. Might go to somewhere else.
First. I can't see anything else being first, to be honest.
No.
I know we haven't seen much of the card, but
yeah,
I think that's a gimme for being first.
Yeah, which is, this is where the Intercontinental title was about.
Yeah, I mean,
6 years ago.
Barrett has done nothing. I know he's on Raw. We'll get into that a little bit later on, but the US title has been more in the spotlight than the Intercontinental title lately.
Definitely, yeah. But it's like all the titles have shifted down a bit, and the world title is now where the Intercontinental title was like 6 years ago.
Yeah, spot on.
Jeff Hardy was the Intercontinental title. That was like always, usually the first match of the night was Intercontinental title. And then they still had the world title on shows like that, but it wasn't in the first match. It's because they got the mid-carders, people who should be in the mid-card there.
Going back 10, not 10 years, less than that, 7 or 8 years, the world title was, the centrepiece of WrestleMania. When you had Batista and Triple H, it was the match, wasn't it? It closed the show. It was the main angle.
Yeah, exactly. That was the Raw brand title, but, it's still a valid point. Like the WWE Championship, which was on SmackDown, was in really prominent matches. Sometimes as far back as, 2008, Edge, Undertaker for that title. It's dropped a long way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, Edge, Undertaker. Yeah, I forgot about that one. Anyway, go on then, Ryan. Take us through the rest of the undercard matches.
Yeah, so Cesaro kept the US title as he beat The Miz by disqualification after Miz inadvertently kneed Cesaro in the balls.
Disgusting finish.
Fucking pathetic finish. And
they didn't want either man to lose, clearly, so what was the point in having the match?
I know, yeah.
Just save it for Mania, because it's going to happen again at Mania, and you'll think Miz will win at WrestleMania, but why have the match? Why just not, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
Bit stupid. And it was on its way to being not a bad match until
No, they were doing well.
So, yeah, Cesaro looked really vicious in it as well. He was quite impressive. So then we had an impromptu match with Ziggler beating Kofi in a pointless match. Ziggler wins with a zigzag. Near the end, Kofi hits Trouble in Paradise, but Big E pulls Ziggler out the ring during the pin attempt, and the ref did not give a shit. Usually this is a disqualification, but the ref was like, all right. But,
how disappointing was it when Kofi's music hit as well?
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was building up I thought he was building up maybe Christian or Evan Bourne or someone.
Yeah.
But no, Kofi Kingston. And you feel the crowd sort of go, ugh.
Yeah. At least Ziggler got his monkey flip land on face spot in this match, which was nice.
That's one of Kofi's other purposes. Tag team wrestling and doing monkey flips to Dolph.
Yeah. And then after the match, Big E beats up Kofi with his shitty offense. I noticed at this point it looks like Big E has a short afro in his armpits, which was quite funny. He's
a strange-looking individual. He's too jacked, and his legs are really short. He looks a bit like a bulky Darren Young.
Yeah. The best thing about this segment was that neither AJ or Big E spoke, so that was good. That's something about what I talk about. AJ, it's like since she's been with Ziggler, her role has just diminished. It's great.
Yeah, she's not done much, has she? She did originally, like the first 2 or 3 weeks. She was with Dolph quite often in interviews and that. But now she's literally just there to snog his face off on the entrance.
Yeah, she was on borrowed time when she got away from doing stuff with Bryan, in my opinion. Because she's never been that good. The only good role she did really well was the timid girlfriend to Brian, which she was brilliant as. But when she was doing the whole crazy thing, that was novelty for a little bit. But then she just can't act or anything, so it's just embarrassing at that point.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, moving on. Last match, you'd be forgiven if we'd. I think we'd be forgiven if we forgot about it. Was Caitlyn beat Tamina and her racist jungle entrance music for the Divas title.
Does her music go Tamina? Or is it me?
Yeah, that does do that.
It does. There you go. That's rubbish.
And it's racist. Cheers.
Seb Colton produced it, I think.
Yeah. Oh dear. So Caitlyn hit a spear for the win here. I give this match a 3S rating, which is short, shit, and sloppy. So yeah, not good. So yeah, ratings. Shall we do that?
Yeah, you can go first. Go on.
Just scraping a 6, and I'm being kind.
Same as me. I've given it a 6 just as well. I think aside from 2 matches, it was pretty much your standard filler, and that's including the main event, which was just a way to get The Rock defending the title before the big shit goes down on the Build to Mania.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for the Shield winning, I'd have probably given it a 5. But because I marked so hard, I've given him a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd go with a 6 as well. So, there weren't really any standout matches in terms of quality. I like the Shield winning, obviously, but yeah, it was an alright show. 6 is fine.
A little bit run of the mill. We're very harmonious in their ratings this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, look at this! Attitude adjustment! A shot! A spear! Let's go! Done it! Ryback was going for shell shock. Roman Reigns about speared him out of the building. Which one of you two saw that coming? I'll tell you who's the most shocked person in this arena. John Cena. The Shield beat the All-Star team tonight.
Right, moving on to Raw, which happened the next night. And we're going to start by looking at the CM Punk and John Cena confrontation, which opened the show.
Yep. So Cena comes out for a promo, but is interrupted by Punk pretty quickly. Punk says Cena doesn't deserve the title shot at Mania. Cena retorts saying if Punk beats him in a match now, then he can have his shot. Punk agrees to the match, but only on next week's Raw. I thought this was a pretty strong segment. It was alright.
It was alright.
Both men did well here, I thought. They both delivered their promo as well. So, yeah.
I don't think it was a very smart move to say so early on in the show that the match was going to happen next week. Because that, in my opinion, it killed the crowd straight away.
Yeah.
We were looking for that to happen in the main event, and straight away it's, we'll do it next week, you know. you don't really matter this week.
Yeah.
The crowd was dead for the rest of the night.
Yeah. I'm, not surprised really with the rest of the show, I don't think so.
No, they have got an excuse for that.
Yeah.
With one point I'd like to make, which John Cena said, don't know if either of you noticed this, but he said, for once, it's not about you to CM Punk. Couldn't believe that.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Stinks of,
Yeah.
WWE logic.
Yeah, what do we actually think of this match next week? What do we think will happen?
I think we'll have some sort of shenanigans, and eventually we'll have a triple threat at Mania. Punk will find an excuse within next week's match to give himself leverage for a Mania match.
Yeah, I wonder how they'd do that. I mean, they've already done the double pin. That's one way they could have done it, I suppose.
They have, haven't they? Was that Night of Champions? Or?
Yeah. So,
good point.
Interesting. But it did give me hope that hopefully he'll be in the main event, but I don't think he will be. I think this is just to get Cena to beat him.
This match completely renders the Royal Rumble irrelevant.
Yeah, I hate it when they do stuff like this. It's
what a waste of time.
Just call the Royal Rumble winner lucky and he'll put his shot on the line for you.
Yeah.
Don't bother entering the Rumble, Just challenge him.
If you win the Rumble, you get the shot at Mania. No, you don't. You have to defend it again. What's the point? That's like similar to TNA when they do the Bound for Glory series. It took who won the Bound for Glory series? Jeff Hardy won it.
Yeah.
He like it was like a 6-month tournament, and the Impact after the final, he defended it against Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
What is the point?
They did it with James Storm as well when he won a #1 contendership thing.
Yeah.
And then Bobby Roode was like, "Oh, I'll do your daughter" or something like that. And,
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so he was like, put his foot on the line, and then he lost it. And it's just stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're advertising someone as having something, if they win, no questions asked. Even if they said, even if they agreed to like do it, the general manager should come out and say, "No, stop at you. No, you're not doing that. You know, you won this, so you've got it. You're not putting it on the line. You can't do that." So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly like that. I'd say it as well.
Exactly. Definitely.
Right. We're next going to talk about the Rock's nice little title celebration at the end.
Yes. So this was the ending segment. Rock comes out with a marching band accompanying his music. He says that. Yeah.
I expected a good reaction for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many segments on this podcast begin with
Yeah. So he says that he's not going to Mania with the current design of the title, so he then unveils a new belt. The design of the belt is basically just the WWE logo, really.
with some diamonds on it.
Yeah.
It did look that impressive on telly, but if you look on WWE Shop now, it actually looks... I really like it. I think it's nice. It's definitely an improvement on that crappy spinner anyway.
Oh, no. Here we go. I think it's a decent looking belt, but it doesn't look like a heavyweight title. It looks like a mid-card title.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit better than the spinner, but I've grown to like the spinner a little bit since maybe in the last year.
The spinner definitely didn't look like a main event title. Jesus, that looked terrible.
It looked grand though, didn't it? It was, flashy and big and main event title in your face. This one just looks like a bit of black leather with a WWE logo in the middle.
Yeah. It looked... Yeah, it's just the logo, isn't it?
I'm not saying I don't like the belt. I'm just saying I agree with Himpy that the pictures look better than they did on television.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely not saying I don't like the belt. I think it's quite smart, but it just doesn't look like a heavyweight title.
No. Yeah, with like the style they're only going for them, like is basically having a big WWE on it, a WWE or logo on it, and it not looking traditional like the older ones, like before the spinner belt. That's like the style they're going for now. I think that's as good as you're gonna get.
I think they've released a press release, whatever it is, today, about saying that they wanted to create a WWE icon and not a traditional championship title, which, in my opinion, defeats the object of what Triple H is trying to do, is trying to get wrestling back into the product. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll see. And the report that I read says that they want it to last because they spent $50,000 on it. So it's going to be around to stay, but we'll see.
I can't stand it. I don't like it at all. I think I preferred the spinner when they disabled its spinning ability.
Why did it suddenly spin after not spinning for about 5 years? Just for The Rock to prove a point that it was the old spinner belt.
They probably had wedged a bit of card under it or something for like 5 years so it doesn't spin or something, and then they just took it out. But yeah, it looks too tacky, and it doesn't. I know people say, "Oh, the Winged Eagle one. Well, we love that. That was a lovely belt," and I know people say that, but that's the kind of thing you want.
The Undisputed belt was the best WWE title ever.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah, but I think,
So Ryan absolutely hates it. I'm on the fence, and Himpy absolutely loves it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I hate it, but it's the style more and how it actually looks. I mean, if they're going for that style, I don't think we're going to get anything that's better. But I just want them to change the style because it's in the same mould as the spinner style.
One final point that I'd like to make on it: the main criticism that people had, which I understood, was that the spinner was made up of too many jewels and diamonds and whatnot, and the new one is made up of little diamonds. They've basically just taken the gold surround away and changed the shape of the front plate. But
yeah, I think Rock was like completely wrong with what he was going on about. He said the look of the title is supposed to inspire, not look like a toy or spin. Well, to me, this one doesn't inspire either, and it probably looks more like a toy than the last one. But at least it doesn't spin, I guess. But I mean, yeah, I think it looks more like a toy. Certainly, this one, it doesn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
We are completely split on this one. Completely split.
Yeah.
I do like it.
It's not. It's got no class.
No,
It's supposed to be a prestigious thing, and this one looks like advertising or something.
It looks better without the Rock's logos on it.
Yeah.
It looks better with the actual.
Yeah. He's just hit the nail on the head. That's what I was going to say. I think with the Rock's plate on the side, it does leave it open for the gimmick of the belt to be instead, because there's no nameplate on the front, is there? I think the gimmick could be that whoever holds it has their little logo or gimmick signature on each plate, which could work quite well in my opinion. I
like the name tag there. It's annoying they ain't got that.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if say Punk wins it eventually, you'll have a little lightning bolt on the sides, and
I don't think they'll do that for everyone though.
Cena will have a cock or something.
Yeah, Ryback just a turkey or something, a cooked turkey or something. I don't know.
But anyway, the actual segment before the title got unveiled, I thought it was not very logical that Rock came out and slagged Punk off and said that he was a knob, basically.
Yeah.
And after Punk had said earlier in the night that Rock beat him fair and square.
Yeah.
And, Punk was quite graceful in defeat, and Rock came out and was like, "Nah, you wanker."
Yeah. Oh, that's WWE's babyface for you, isn't it? There we go. Yeah. So this segment we got off that, but so Cena comes out when Rock's talking. He's rabbiting on about something, and before he speaks, Punk comes out and hits him with the old title belt, and that's it. And then Punk points to the new title belt, I think, and says, "I want that one," or something. And then just lobs the spinner away. I didn't. As a segment, I didn't like it that much. Just wasn't very interesting.
I like the band. I thought that was cool how they drummed along to the beat of the drum in the theme song. I thought that was quite cool.
Yeah.
But it's not really relevant in the main event segment to me. A drum beat.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. The next thing we're going to talk about is the Shield again, and this time they face Sheamus, Ryback, and Jericho.
Yeah, two bunch of bastards and a good chap.
I knew you were going to say bunch of bastards, so I was going to quickly cut in there and say, you better not be including Jericho in that.
Oh, God, no. Oh, God, no. He's a lovely man.
Before the match started, did you notice when Jericho did his little push promo backstage?
Yeah.
Where he said nothing has ever happened like this, including the NWO and the Nexus. And when he said Nexus, he looked right at Ryback.
I didn't notice that. That went straight out of my mind. I forgot that he was associated with him.
He's basically slagging off Ryback's friends there, weren't he? That's a bit uncalled for.
Michael Tarver must be fuming.
He must be.
Yeah.
I thought the match was second best match on Raw. I thought Bryan Swagger was a little bit better.
Really?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I didn't go much on that one, to be honest. I thought it was okay, but
I thought it was a good match.
Very good.
The Shield was a good match, but I preferred Bryan and Swagger. Don't know why.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe on a second watch, and I might not, but I don't think either match really warranted me watching them twice, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But I think, again, with the Shield, they've done everything you could have asked of them to do. I think it's good now that we've had each man in the three matches have all taken a pinfall. They've all got a win. I think Roman Reigns is playing his role brilliantly. I think he's being a great credit to the other two, and he's really not being overshadowed by either man.
No.
Really holding his own up, and I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be a big useless lump, but he's an integral part for me.
Yeah, I think a few years he's going to be a player, definitely. I mean, he might not become the best in the ring, but you just know that Vince and Triple H are going to love him.
He's charismatic though as well.
Yeah, he is. I think he's all right. I wish he wouldn't do so much shouting. I think if he because how he started off, he was like cool, talk slowly, laid back kind of thing. He was like a little more of that.
Yeah. Now he's like he used to be like the enforcer sort of role, and now he's playing the brute that just is a meathead. Sort of.
I can't remember where I heard this, or if I dreamt it. I don't think I dreamt it, but apparently Triple H sees him as the next him. Is
Really?
what I heard.
Read that, I've got to be honest.
And he really likes him. So nice finish to this match, I thought, when Rollins connected with a springboard knee strike onto the back of Jericho's head, whilst he had Ambrose in the walls of Jericho, and this allowed Ambrose to then pin Jericho. I thought it was a very good match, especially for a Raw one, and again it was had great heat and stuff. Shield, another brilliant performance. So working really well together, and they're just showing a cohesion that you don't really see much in like tag team wrestling or anything like that.
I think it's good that they've spread them around as well, because, like I said before, I touched on it, but at TLC in their first match, Roman Reigns got the pinfall.
Yeah.
At the Chamber, it was Rollins, and last night it was Ambrose. So they've all had a moment in the spotlight.
Yeah. I'm glad they haven't. It's not Reigns who is doing the damage for them to get pins. It's good that Rollins did something. So that was very good. Before this match, I was certain Jericho was going to turn on Ryback and set up a Mania match.
I've heard a lot of people say that. It didn't cross my mind, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. I'd really like to see Jericho stay babyface, especially with how over he is. And I don't want him to be in a heel role at the moment. He's probably better at the heel, but I just want to see him as a babyface. I don't know. He's kind of
He's been a heel for a lot of his career, hasn't he?
Yeah, maybe he can go back to it, but when he's only going to be here for a little while, probably, be nice if he can stay a babyface. And
in all his interviews, he said that he doesn't like to do anything twice.
Yeah.
And the last time, his last heel run was a bit of a flop because the not speaking gimmick didn't really last and didn't really work well. And after that happened, he was just a generic heel. He didn't really have a cause. I know he was battling Punk, but whereas before when he last held the title, he was like the suit wearing best in the world at what he does. He needs another version of that sort of, but different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do anything twice. He needs to be a radically different heel for him to be a heel again, in my opinion.
Yeah. Another reason I didn't want him to have that match with Ryback at Mania is I don't want him lumbered with that piece of shit. I want him to have someone good, and they can have like a classic. So we hopefully see one good match at Mania.
Jerry Lawler got the names wrong. The Shield.
Yeah.
The big up and coming 3 future superstars, and they've 3 clean wins on pay-per-view, and King didn't even know their names.
Yeah. It's I don't like King and stuff and that, but surely they got to see he doesn't seem with it very much anymore. Which is sad and stuff, but I don't know if it's loyalty or something like that. But I mean, they've got to take him off. I'm sure a few years ago, like 5 years ago, he wouldn't want himself to be in this kind of state where he's like such a hindrance.
Yeah, I agree. I've been watching a few 2005-6 pay-per-views, and or maybe a little bit later than that. Can't remember 2007, but not long ago, and he was still really on the ball. He was witty and quick, and he had an answer for everything, and said some funny lines. But now he's so stale. He seems to have lost. I know he's had a heart attack, so you can't really blame him for taking it easy. But the rut had set in. Long before his heart attack.
Yeah, certainly. He was one of the best in his day, certainly. So
definitely.
Just a shame, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's about it for the main segments. So if you want to take us through the rest quickly, Ryan.
Yeah, quick roundup. So we had Mark Henry beat Sin Cara in a squash match. When I was watching this, watching Henry here, I was reminded of an episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets a helper monkey called Mojo. I'm not being racist. It's nothing to do with anything like that. But specifically the quote from Marge where she says, "Now he just lays there struggling to breathe." And when Henry's in a match or something, especially laying down, he does look like he's dying. He can't breathe, and it's just, and they're coming into my head. And then later on, Henry goes to fuck up Sin Cara some more, but that brings out the great Carly. Henry retreats and mocks him by doing Carly's dance. this again reminds me of Mojo.
That was funny. That was
I did
funny.
laugh
Yeah,
at
but here we go. But hear me out.
The internet of him dancing. They've put the sort of 2 or 3 seconds of him doing the raising the roof dance
Yeah,
to
but-
Caitlin's theme.
But listen again.
Oh, God.
This again reminds me of Mojo when he tries to do his happy dance. Homer asks him to do that, but Mojo is too fat and out of shape, so he can barely stand. And he's like, and then he's, and it's just perfect. I thought of it a few seconds ago, and then he's doing a dance like Mojo. So, yeah. if you're cool,
he screamed, "If I wanted to dance, I'd go on a date."
what?
I think
dear.
I do like Mark Henry. We've already established that. I think he's
Yeah.
quality,
Oh,
but
dear.
I'm not up for Henry and Carly at WrestleMania.
I don't think that'll happen.
I'm not sure. I can see that coming off.
The latest probably false rumor was Henry Sheamus, I think.
One thing that I like to see, I think Henry and Ryback would be a perfect fit. If they want to give Ryback a little bit of momentum back and put him over a big monster, which would in turn get Ryback over.
Yeah.
I think Henry would be the perfect fit for that, because Henry, we've already touched on that he's probably going to retire soon. He'd want to do his part to put the next sort of big man over, I think.
Yeah.
I
And it
quite
would
agree with
get
that.
2 average wrestlers, average at best,
Yeah.
in ring workers out of the way at the same time.
Yeah.
So.
And hopefully Ryback will get shat on, because I think people would side with Henry. I'd be loving him.
So do I, definitely.
Against
Henry's
Ryback,
going to be
certainly.
treated well by the New York crowd, whoever he wrestles, I think.
Maybe not whoever he wrestles. But if he's
Well,
against
unless
someone...
it's Daniel Bryan or something.
Yeah. But, we'll see. So, elsewhere we had Miz tapped out Cesaro to the figure 4 in a match that I thought was for the title, and which scared the shit out of me when it happened, when he beat him, because I thought, Jesus, he's beat him. But luckily it was non-title and a no disqualification match.
It was alright. I thought
yeah, it was a fun little
decent-
match.
Decent-ish match for 5 minutes.
Yeah, Cesaro was brilliant again. He did some really good stuff, and the ending was pretty bad for him, where he landed like face first on that chair and like bent it in half. But fuck Miz though. Fucking
Don't like Miz?
No, shitbag.
Alright then.
Moving
There
on.
you have it.
Yeah, Del Rio beat Ziggler with a cross arm breaker.
I've
Despite
lost all interest by this point.
despite Big E trying to get involved. Okay match, and the burial of everyone who is any good continues. Big E attacked Del Rio after the match. Ziggler was about to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, but Ricardo nicks it and runs off, which was annoying.
But when they cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase, you don't see the referee take the contract out and have a read of it, do you? So,
Just sign here, Mr. Ziggler.
yeah,
and-
exactly.
yeah.
It's not really relevant.
No,
But never
yeah.
mind.
Yeah, so there's this weird segment with Barrett, who shows a trailer for a film he's in.
He was
Sheamus.
in the trailer for about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I had to keep pausing it to see if it was him, and it was like
same here.
3 times it wasn't him, and the one time it was. But then Sheamus interrupts for some reason, and it just ends. This was the most ham-fisted excuse to play a film trailer that I've ever seen. It was just
Do you think that'll
pathetic.
lead to maybe a Mania match?
I don't know. I think maybe.
I don't really care, to be honest.
No.
Colin Farrell in Sheamus' corner or something?
Oh my god.
It makes sense, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does.
See it happening. That could be the celebrity involvement this year.
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, swiftly moving on. Tensai, Brodus and Naomi beat Primo, Efka and Rosa.
Match of the night, this one.
Yeah.
Oh no, hold on. I'm reading my notes wrong, sorry.
So later on, we had Swagger and Zeb have a state.
This was brilliant. I think, Zeb Hitler. It's just stunning to see. It's so different, and not that I'm endorsing racism. I'm not saying racism is stunning, but it's so fresh for me. It's different to anything else on the card, and it's badly needed for Swagger, and it's doing him the world of good, I think.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So after that, we got Swagger versus Bryan, and Swagger won this with a Patriot Act.
Match of the night for me.
Yeah, I'd go with a Shield match. I really like that.
I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I thought Swagger and Bryan was better for me.
This I thought was just okay, and it kind of I knew I wasn't gonna be into this at all anyway because I knew Bryan was losing, so I wasn't really interested.
I don't think it does any harm though.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess, especially with where they're probably if he's turning heel now, hopefully.
Exactly.
But,
One last final point this week on Swagger. I think another good point, which we haven't touched on about his current gimmick, is that if he has a pretty decent title run, if he does win the title at WrestleMania, when he gets a little bit stale, I think the opportunity for a turn is perfect, because he's an American bashing, jock at the minute. And when he turns eventually, he'll be the big pro-American face, which smacks Zeb Coulter about and sticks up for the country. I think it could result in him being a big face eventually.
Yeah. I'll be surprised. Because he's basically a racist character at the moment, I think.
Yeah, I'm saying a long way down the line.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say maybe the summer, or even later than the summer, a year's time maybe. When the turn does happen, I think it's potential to be a big baby face there.
Yeah.
Saving his country and that, and fighting for his country against the idiot. But anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So later on, we had an in-ring segment with Vicky and Heyman. Vicky announces that Brad Maddox is now her assistant. He comes out and talks for a bit. They nick the joke from The Office about the assistant being the assistant manager / assistant to the manager, but of course overplay it because nothing can be subtle in WWE. Then Vince appears via satellite and says because Heyman said he would do anything for the stipulation at Elimination Chamber between Rock and Punk, that he has got to fight Vince next week. I didn't even want to start on how stupid that is. But I
just don't see... you can see Lesnar coming back and ruining Vince again.
Yeah, hopefully.
We could be done in another way. I don't really want to see Heyman and Vince in the ring, to be honest.
I mean, it's just logically no one would say that after coming out of hip surgery. Or a new hip or something. Yeah, I'm going to fight you. I'm on crutches. I'm going to fight you, Heyman. I mean, it's just stupid. It's arrogant. Vince having to look like a great fighter or something. But there we go. So later on we got the return of R-Truth during a Kofi Kingston versus Damien Sandow match, which just ended. Truth is back.
Poor Kofi. He's back in the cycle, and he's going to be in a tag team with Truth again.
He's had chances though. I mean,
yeah, he has done. Yeah.
So I don't think he's got anyone but himself to blame for just not being able to get over to another degree. Really, it's just the ball was dropped on him when he was on fire in the feud with Orton a few years back, and then they just completely pulled the rug from underneath for him, and he was nothing again. But when he cut the promo, I remember, on top of the car when he was battering Orton's car, and for whatever reason the segment was, I can't really remember, but he's shown real intensity in that segment, and he got a win over Orton on pay-per-view, I think. No, I don't think he ever got one on pay-per-view.
Did he not?
No, I don't.
Did his team beat Orton's team at Survivor Series, I think, or something? Possibly, I can't remember. But Kofi was on fire, and that was really the last time that I really cared about Kofi Kingston, to be honest.
Yeah. Finally, the breakup of Team Hell No seems to be imminent. Now as Orton beat Kane in a match after Bryan distracts Kane, allowing Orton to hit the RKO. This must be the start.
I think now.
Yeah, this must be the start of Bryan's turning heel again, because he looked completely serious, and undisputably cost Kane the win on purpose here. So so that's the end of that show.
Right then, ratings and final thoughts. Go on, Ryan.
5 out of 10. I thought the only worthwhile thing was the Shield match and the opening, which was okay too, I guess. I was completely underwhelmed with the episode. It was a chore to get through, and I had to do so in 3 different sittings.
3 different sittings?
Yeah.
Right. I've gone 5 out of 10. I think the last hour was good, and I enjoyed the Bryan Swagger match, but the rest, it's just dragged. 3 hours is far too long. It's just absolutely drags along. I was literally falling asleep at one point, and that's not a lie. And I was watching this at like 10 in the morning, and I was falling asleep. It was ridiculous. But I've gone for a 5.
Yeah, I think everyone was expecting it to be, the big kickoff to WrestleMania, the first Raw going into Mania, and it's really set up for next week, isn't it? Everything everything's happening next week. Which
instead of being the first Raw after the first Raw to build to WrestleMania, it felt like the first Raw after the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, we'll get the conclusive main event next week, and I think we'll probably see Lesnar and Triple H the start of that setup next week.
I think next week's main event, which we didn't touch on earlier, I think a lot of the outcome of that depends on whether Taker wants to wrestle at Mania or not against Punk.
Yeah,
because if he does want to wrestle Punk, Cena's going to beat him definitively. Yeah. So a lot. We'll see next week. A lot. I'm excited for next week, Raw.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be all right. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, I think that'll do us this week on the Danger Zone. Remember to check us out on the website, which is thedangerzonepodcast.com. You should have that bookmarked by now, though. Or it could be your homepage, even. That's what we expect. You can follow us on Twitter, @DZPodcast. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube by searching for the Danger Zone Podcast. You can watch all our other episodes on YouTube. I'm sounding like Zack Ryder now. Yeah, we hope you've enjoyed the show. We'd love some feedback on what we're doing, and we want to hear your views on what we've discussed. And until next week, you've been in the Danger Zone.
I've been in the danger zone.
Shit.
To be fair though, if you're doing the bumming, it doesn't look too bad. It's just if you're on the receiving end, then it looks a bit fucked up.